Do you guys have any questions before we get started?
No, I don't got anything.
I think we're good.
All right, tight. My infamous question for the four of you is: I know you have some beverages open already, but I do an opening crack for the episode. I don't know if you guys have any unopened ones that you want to double fist for a little bit.
I'll double fist for this.
Facts. Already cracked. What happened?
You gotta get another one.
Like another one?
I gotta
one
recrack.
left. One left. Let's go.
These are mine! I had like two of these. Wait.
All right, so what I'll do is I'll count us down. We'll crack these. I'll do the intro, bring the four of you in, and we'll just have a good time.
All right. Sounds good.
Hell yeah! In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. Very stoked to have this band on the episode this week. I'm sitting down with Dear Cincinnati. How y'all doing?
Hi. Hello.
For people that might not be aware of Dear Cincinnati, they are the quote-unquote pioneers of Southeast emo from Florida, not from Ohio, as some people might be confused. We may talk about that later. But you guys have some cool stuff that has recently come out, some awesome stuff that has very recently come out, and then some stuff that is cooking that'll come out here shortly after this Times of Construct. This episode comes out in like July. It came out at some point before this episode, and you guys should have all listened to it millions of times already. But before we get too far in, can you kind of go around the couch and say who you are and what you do in Dear Cincinnati?
I'm Hudson. I'm kind of the lead guitar. We kind of switch off lead and rhythm, but I think I mainly do lead.
Trevor Bell. Same thing with him. We switch off between lead and rhythm, and he's an amazing guitarist, so it's awesome to have him.
I'm David, and I talk about my problems and scream for money. I'm a singer.
I'm John. I play bass.
Okay. And I know we are missing one member currently. Who are they, and what do they do in the band?
That's Troy, our drummer. He should be here very shortly. He's just going to join the Zoom link from where he is.
Hell yeah. Well, since he's going to join us shortly, I want to hold off on our normal pour one out for the homies because he should be here, and he's going to be alive for this. So, yeah. No, like I said, I'm very stoked. We got our schedules aligned for this one. I know we were going to do a while back. Things have gotten busy, but I think it's like the perfect moment with everything you guys have going on to kind of recap it from here. But before we get into that, you guys are kind of, I feel like, newer to the scene, and you guys have been, killing it so far. You have a great number of people talking about you. The numbers are looking good. If you look at numbers are constructs, so it's hard to view in an aspect. But you guys are killing it nonetheless. So take me back to the origin story. How did the five of you become Dear Cincinnati?
Well, I know that four of us, this one, me, and our drummer Troy, we've all been in bands since we were 16. And they played in a previous emo band, and I was in a hardcore band, and Troy was in a metal band. And I guess it was kind of a sound we were all looking. Oh, there's Troy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I guess it was a sound we were all looking for. We all listened to a lot of the same stuff. And so it was just a sound we couldn't find here in Tallahassee. And I reconnected with John after a few years of just not talking to him through some mutual friends and stuff. And we got to talking, and then he brought Trevor along. He was like, oh, Trevor plays guitar. And, after that, we all met with Troy. And once we finally established this could actually be something, we brought Hudson on, and then 2 weeks later we wrote a song, and before I guess at least personally, it didn't even feel we were ready, to be frank with you, but we were okay, let's go in and record it, and now that song is 85,000 streams. So it was just kind of this one quick swift motion that was just none of us expected would be happening. I guess is the best way to explain it. I
mean, that's pretty amazing because I think for everyone that's listening, the song you're talking about is Piss Duke Tutorial, like, which is, I think that's the song that I found you guys off of, honestly. I think it was like on like my curated like new music Friday playlist or whatever. But to see just how far, like, the numbers on that is crazy. Obviously there's two versions of it, but to think that like you guys just, that was the first song you guys wrote and just kind of were just like, fuck it, let's just kind of send this, and it's, I feel like, worked out great so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that attitude is really what shapes us. Not to derive from the question, but I feel like we're all just kind of like, fuck it, let's send it. We're all just those kind of guys. So it's like, it's just that origin story really like captures what we're all about.
Yeah. Which I feel like nowadays that's the better mentality to have. Like, yes, there's some people that are like so focused on the grind and like trying to make it big, where I've watched that happen to a few friends where they're trying so hard that they're actually not getting anywhere. They're almost like treading water. And the moments that you like kind of just take a step back and are like, fuck it, let's just like do this and see what happens, and then just kind of like do your own thing, like the traction you get on that stuff seems to be like way more, and like just catches you by guard in a certain way.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, that was the first single. Second single, it's followed up, was just as good, with Voyage on the Terry Crews. Another great single leading into the debut EP. Like, how did it feel? Did it feel like reassuring knowing that, okay, we put out the first single, everyone loved it, we did the second one, and we're still getting like the same kind of reaction?
That was nice.
It was stunning. Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It's like great. Not a one-hit wonder.
Especially because that was like that was like the first, like, yeah, Picnic was the first one we released, but Voyage was the first like song that we like that was the first one we all like wrote as like, because I've been sitting on, because I also play guitar, and I've been sitting on that main riff for like, must have been like a year and a half now, and I just thought like, oh, this would be cool, I'll like put it back and just never use it. And then, like our first or second practice, I just put it out there, and Troy starts jamming, and I teach it to him, and he starts jamming on it, and everyone just kind of comes together, and it's like, okay, this is something.
We're doing it now.
Yeah, we're doing it. Yeah.
To have the second follow the first, there's no different anxiety than expecting less than what you got. And the skill between my band members and, myself, obviously, to apply a different technique, a different style of specifically guitar for me and Hudson, and different vocals for our vocals, David, to come together and, apply this technique. It felt so good to have it be successful the second time.
And then obviously, this all leads into the debut EP, and I Can't Let Go, which is phenomenal, because obviously you tease us with like the two first singles, but then there's still 4 more tracks on here that just take you guys up a whole nother notch, in such a good way. Like, this EP is so good to listen to. I think I had it on repeat for most of this afternoon leading up to this, and like, it's not like it's definitely one that you want to keep listening to, and like there's no skips anywhere in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
What's your favorite off I Can't Let Go? Which one do you
Honestly, I think Something About Just Falling is probably one of my favorites off of it. Especially, and I was going to bring this up too, because like you talk in there about how obviously, there's the line of listening to trash, and then there's also the line of like, you should have listened to Tades and Corey about how like they've experienced it. And it's just like, this is like literally every emo kid's like situation. Like we all listen to the same shit, and we feel like, oh yeah, these guys are speaking to us, and like you just emphasized it in a song. It marked it perfectly.
Okay, so I gotta say something about those lines, and Troy can help me out with this.
Yeah.
My favorite band of all time is Hot Mulligan. I have a Hot Mulligan tattoo. Like, they're my fucking, like, they're my goats. I got to meet them. They were super nice guys. And when we were in the studio recording that one, because me and Hudson wrote that one, like, after our, like, second show, and we're, like, plastered. I'll admit, we were, like, plastered. And the trash line was there, and Troy was like, oh, my God, that's so cool. And initially the verse was different, but that one's kind of about a conversation I had with a girl I liked, who's now my girlfriend. Awesome, but no, cha-ching. But anywho, where she was like, "Why do you listen?" Like, she was like, "Why? How do you sit there and like listen to all this like really sad music? And like, how does that like what does that like do for you?" Like, it's like she was like, "Well, when I feel sad, I'm gonna listen to like something that like uplifts me." And that night, I was listening to an old Real Friends EP where they're like, "I've been up listening to all these sad songs, helps me go through all the shit that I got going in my head." And in the studio, I was thinking about that when we were writing it, and like I pinned those lyrics right there because there's the thing where it's like the whole thing is about like, hey, like you've got your water and I've got my wine, and you may think that it like hurts me and like does things to my body, but actually it makes me feel a lot better and help me process these things. And then also it's just like a shout out to all the people that like came before us. Like, we all love Hot Mulligan, we all love Free Throw. I know me and Troy especially like really love Trash, and
Oh yeah.
it's like it's just like we kind of have to like, as much as we want to pave our own way and do our own thing, we got to be like, hey, you know, these are the guys who came before us, and these are the guys doing the things that led us to where we are today. And you know, it's almost like, to me, like I sent it to Derek and I showed him the lyric, and you know, he was super reciprocative. He was super responsive to it, and you know, it was just kind of almost like, not like a shout out, but just like that song's kind of like a thank you to me every time I hear it, because it's like, without those guys, I wouldn't be here. I don't even know if I would be like standing right now. I guess I think I'd be drowning, I guess is the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, I think that's put perfectly. You know, you don't see a lot of people, you know, pay respects to people that like kind of pave this road that a lot of the newer bands are going down. So to kind of see it in there, it's like, it's nice you're paying homage to them at the same time. Like, they're all killing it. They're all in the places they are because, you know, we all love and respect them and like help them get to that spot. And it's just nice to see it in there. Like the amount of times that I've, you know, had rough nights and then, you know, burnt out like many Real Friends CDs just because I've, you know, listened to it so many times. Like, it's fucking crazy. But it like, that's, I think, one reason that I really love that song in particular off this EP.
Yeah.
I think my other favorite is probably Rock Girl Summer. Just like the catchiness of it is probably like my my solid top two for that one.
Troy, do you got anything to say about that one?
That one's a banger.
You?
That one's a banger. That one's a banger.
Yeah,
I like that one a lot.
Words.
I like that one a lot. It's like, it kind of is shaped what our most recent songs we've written kind of look like, as far as like twinkly wise. Like, you know, letting Hudson shine a little bit with his twinkly riffs, and we love him for that. Also, I want to say quickly, I want to give David and Hudson a shout out, because watching them drunkly write something about Just Falling, and then the next time they played it was mic to guitar in the studio, was insane to watch.
We did that shit.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't even know I can't even describe it, how that's happened, but yeah, that one's a banger too.
Now, obviously, I talked about like my favorites off of this record. What are like some of your favorites that you like? If you're, I used to ask this question a lot, like the Warped Tour question. You're in line, you know, trying to hawk CDs outside of the line at Warped Tour. Like, what's the go-to song on this EP to be like, hey, you got 10 seconds. This is the song you need to listen to. Before
we start doing this, I want to say, if Warped Tour comes back next year, this is my call for Dear Cincinnati to be on the Warped Tour. Please! I was going to go to the last Warped Tour and I missed it, so I want to be at the second one, but I want to be up there. I don't care if we're playing for the vendors. Just let us play, man!
As far as some of the favorites off the EP that like the band goes, I think the collaboration together between the Ghost of Corona Girl, the fact that every time we introduce a show, we're introducing ourselves, we're all engaged together, and it's easy to lighten anybody's night, particularly when we're performing it, but the engagement, the fun, the clear energy that we have within this performance and within the song itself, I think that really changes the way that we engage with it.
Hudson, do you have a favorite?
I was gonna say Ghost of Corona Girl. I think that was the one. That was like the third one we wrote, I believe. And it was kind of like what we were talking about earlier. I remember writing that one, and that was probably the most secure I felt. Where it was like, I kind of had that realization of like, oh man, like we're actually writing songs. I feel like I've been doing band stuff for so long, and I looked up to like all these different musicians, and I never felt like I just had, you know, the ear to like write like a coherent, cohesive song, like something you hear and you're like, yeah, this makes sense. This is a song. And I feel like when we wrote that one, it was like, well, I guess you had kind of already had parts of it written, but it was a moment of like, oh yeah, like we can do it. Oh really? I thought you'd been sitting on that.
No,
one.
I wrote the riff or the chord progression for
That one,
Corona
no.
Girl that day in the fucking office, dude.
Oh
What
shit.
about you, John?
I've got to give it to Rock Girl Summer. That one's my favorite.
Any reason why?
It's the most fun to play.
Troy, what about you, buddy?
Off the EP, yeah, definitely Rock Girl Summer.
I gotta split the tie here and go with. I don't necessarily know if it's my favorite, but Rock Girl is definitely like. Well, actually, Troy, why do you like Rock Girl? My bad.
I don't know, the drum part I wrote for that one was really cool. That's why it's the most fun to play.
All right, split the tie quickly.
Well, to split the tie, I think I'm going to talk about Rock Girl here just because it was like one of the first songs where it's like you hear a lot of these emo bands talk about like girls and like, you know, just kind of like talking about their experiences with them. But that was kind of the first one that like I kind of stepped out of that vein, and I wrote about my mom who unfortunately isn't here anymore, and I've had a little bit of a complicated relationship with her, but that was kind of the first time I've really stepped out of my. I kind of listened to that one and it's like I kind of put myself out a little bit. It's a little more vulnerable. Before every show, or like during every show before we perform this one, it's like, oh, this is a song about my dead mom. And so I think like writing wise, I think we all came together and really like every part of the song complements all the lyrics and everything. And, you know, I really feel like we all kind of like, it almost like we came into our own with that one. It's like that one almost like, I hear people hear it and it's like this is a Dear Cincinnati song. And I feel like it established who we were, and you know that's just kind of the best way I can explain it.
But like I said, that came out beginning of April, which like it's been great to listen to. I know everyone's been kind of talking up. I think I got on like the Sad Jams playlist that we're trying kind of does to some of the songs, which shout out to them. Hopefully you'll see them on an episode here pretty soon. But you guys aren't stopping anytime soon. Obviously, you know, that came out, like I said, in April. Now, May 9th, you guys have released your next single, Gorp, which has been out for a total of, 4 days? Which is kind of crazy that, you know, I was able to swoop in this soon. But, like, that's also another solid song to kind of follow up the EP. Like, what was the time difference between like, you know, EP finished writing and like starting to focus on like this next chapter?
If you guys don't mind, I'll take this one. I would be completely honest with you. I've been in a lot of musical groups, and I cannot explain to you how we write music. It's kind of like, I don't know. We all just like we never really knew each other before this. You know, I knew David a little bit, but I had never met any of them. And we all got together, and when we get together and start writing, it's just like the song just appears. Like a lot of bands struggle really hard to find different, you know, styles and stuff to put together, but for some reason we just all work so well together that it just happens, and it baffles me every time. So we had the EP written like. We wrote Piss Nuke, and then like maybe 2 weeks later, the whole EP had already been written, and we were playing it live at shows. It just took us time to, you know, get it recorded and roll it out. But you know, even probably a couple weeks before the EP came out, we already had Gorp done, written, and I can actually announce this now since we announced it today, but Gorp is the single for our split with Almost, the GOATs of ever, coming out June 13th. So definitely not stopping anytime soon, like you said, but we had that written and recorded after the EP very soon, to be honest, and we already have, we're already a chunk into our album, just writing wise.
Dude, hell
Yeah.
yeah! I'm very stoked. Like when a band can come together and like be like so on point and cohesive and like put out solid jams, like I can't wait to see like this next iteration and everything you guys keep putting out from here. Like I just know it's gonna keep getting better and better.
Thank you. I don't know what else to say. Thank you.
Uh, and then obviously like Troy, like you mentioned, Gorp's part of the first single off this upcoming split with Almost. Like like what can we expect from this other single, and then why did you guys also decide to do the Trolley Problem split with Almost?
Okay, well, almost is like some of our really good friends in Tallahassee. Like the scene in Tallahassee isn't like, you know, it's definitely, there's times where it's together, there's times where it's not. But as far as emo goes, like they're the only other emo guys we have here. So like really, getting together with them. We play a lot of shows together. So really getting together with them and creating something together was tied us together and kind of will help put Tallahassee on the map. Hopefully, that was the plan. The first single off the split that we didn't release, like the first song, because they transition into each other. The first song is a much more soft, like soft, ballad almost, and we wanted to drop the high energy one as the single, because that's kind of this more stuff we've done single wise before this. But I think when we drop the split and that first song comes out, it'll be kind of cool for people to see that we can also slow it down when we need to, and like we did in Something About Just Falling, but really get slow and technical with it. As for the name Trolley Problem, we originally didn't. We were struggling with a name, something that fit, and we played a show together in Pensacola. And outside the venue, we had already planned before that day to take our like split cover photo. And outside the venue, there was a trolley, and we were like, "Oh, let's take a pic with this trolley." And then after we took the picture, we were like, "The Trolley Problem, like that would be cool." And so that kind of just came too. But it kind of works because the trolley problem's the main thing in the trolley problem is the split between like, you know, picking the one person or the five people. So it's kind of like still works, but it was cool.
It's a split in the tracks.
Making it
Exactly.
Ah!
It's full circle, full circle.
Exactly.
Well, I'm very stoked to see what the rest of that split's gonna be like. Gorp is I think a great, like I said, great second song, well, first song after the EP. So I'm sure it's just gonna get kind of better from there. Like, is there any plans to kind of maybe do tapes or anything like that for any of the new tape collectors out there?
Like cassettes.
Cassettes? I would love cassettes. I have a cassette collection. I would love
We
cassettes.
should use the cassettes.
That would be legit. I have a Not Milk cassettes, which talking about another emo band in Tallahassee, Not Milk. Fucking crazy guys. I've been following them since I was like 16. Yeah, and I remember when we played, and I've been in the scene for a while. I remember when we played our first show with Almost, which was just genuinely my first show ever, or not Almost, with Not Milk. Have I been saying Almost? Isn't there them?
No, you said not.
No, you said
Dude, Not Milk is just, they put out this, it's like, I gotta look up the name of it because I need to recommend everyone who listens to this EP.
it's ethereal, it's rock, it's emo, it's so absolutely dope. There's some talented musicians, and everybody in Tallahassee that we work with is absolutely fantastic. So
They put out Reach in 2024, and then my favorite by them is For War and For Coming and Going, and that is just like one of the things that like shaped, because I thought the Tallahassee thing was all like metal and punk bands, and I was kind of upset that there was like, oh, like I wanted to be in a band, so I was there, but like there was no like emo bands, and I heard that, and it's just like insane work for Warren coming for going. And I think it really did shape us as a band too, because they're just some real legends. Just to talk about some Tallahassee legends. I love you guys. I don't know.
Did you get them on cassette though?
Oh yeah, and I got them on cassette. That's why I started talking about it. I low-key kind of forgot about that. But no, I have their cassette in my car. Like dude, they're awesome.
We would love some cassettes.
yeah.
We would absolutely. Yeah.
You started talking about Not Milk, and I went on a complete tangent. My bad.
I think the cassettes would work too, because we did CDs for the EP and they actually performed like way better than we thought, because the idea is that physical media is dead, because like but there are still people who do collect it just to have it, which is really cool. Me being one of those people, but so with it working out as well as it, when the album comes out or whatnot, I would totally do cassettes.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said this on other episodes, is like, as like a bigger dude, it's harder for me when I go to like a show and a band has shirts, just because like when you're kind of fat, like shirt designs on the front don't work out well. So if there's like a tape or like a record, like I'm gonna probably pick that up instead. Like I have a fuck ton of tapes. I don't even have a tape player, but like I'll still pick up tapes. I just got 4 more tapes in the mail today. Still no tape player. Like that's a problem. But they look cool.
If you really want some physical media, if you pay me $100, I'll do a Dear Cincinnati tattoo on you. It's gonna be horrible, but I've tattooed before, so I have like a little bit of experience.
That's physical media.
that is true.
That is
fucking
more CDs. I mean, like Troy said, they performed great, and it seems like everybody freaking loves them. Like, even people who do not have CD players, like, they're more than happy to buy that stuff. And so to do, tape player stuff and more physical media would be great.
Yeah. Well, I think there was just a time where, like, physical media just kind of went away. Like, obviously we see like this kind of resurgence with tapes coming back, and like obviously vinyl's kind of been on this uptick the past few years, but even CDs for the longest time kind of went away. And like that's the easiest form of media that anyone can, physically play pretty much every day. Like if most cars have a CD player, most don't have tape players anymore. Obviously they can't take a record in your car. But like to see that kind of go away, and then see bands like start to bring it back, and like hear that, people are actually wanting to grab CDs, because for the long, like how else are you going to be able to actually rip it to your computer nowadays? Like that's the only way.
Yeah.
I want to make bottle openers. This is a real thing. I want to make Dear Cincinnati bottle openers. I think that would be so cool.
Dude, yeah. I'm also the same way, where like with the podcast, I'm like, what can I put my name on just to have merch of that thing? So if you need a bottle opener link, I got you.
The Fans X Dear Cincinnati bottle openers coming soon.
You need your own beer, so when you go to shows, you can give it to it, and it's your beers with bands.
Ooh, that's a good one. Maybe look into that.
Beers with bands.
Yeah. At one point, I was gonna do koozies for 40-ounce bottles, but they're
awesome.
They're stupid expensive for no reason. I was very disappointed. But yeah, I'm always down for suggestions on what for merch. But if you guys need help with thinking of anything, you guys let me know. I'll help you guys out too.
And we'd love to get some of yours, brother. Trust me.
Yes, sir.
We'll be copping. Do not worry.
And then one other cool thing you guys have coming up that I wanted to bring up. I know this episode comes out after it happens, but at the end of this month, you guys are playing a show in Roblox, which, as someone that's 32 years old, what the fuck is going on? And like, I know Roblox is a game. I didn't know you could play songs, like do stuff in it.
That's as DIY as it gets, bro. That's real DIY.
Troy just kind of texted me one day, and he was like, "We're playing a show in Roblox," and I went,
Okay.
I guess that's what
I don't know how, but like some kid has found a way to create a venue in Roblox and have bands play, like send a recorded set to them and like play it through the venue, and like people can join and like mosh in the crowd. I don't know. It's actually like really impressive, because like obviously you know, you have to go through a ton of hoops to create a venue in real life and like all kind of stuff like that. So it's kind of like really actually extremely impressive that he, you know, used maybe a Roblox outlet, you know, like Roblox to combine the two things and, you know, be able to bring bands on like that. So I was like, you know, the fact like that's a lot of creativity. No one thought about that, you know what I'm saying? So I was like,
Yeah.
you know what, sure, you know. And then yeah, I don't know. Those are kind of the fun things we like to do. Like maybe it's not the most professional thing ever to be playing a show in Roblox, but sometimes you got to have a little fun, bro.
I just think it's awesome because I saw, obviously, Halftime Show, who's also going to be on the show at this show, not Roblox. Well, they're on both shows. But I saw that them also post it, and I was like, wait, they're not even near, like, because I know you guys are in Florida, they're in Missouri. I was like, they're not even near each other. Like, who's going on tour to do what? And then I like had to rethink, like, wait, this doesn't actually have an address for Roblox. This is like for a second I thought it was like an actual venue called Roblox instead of like the game Roblox. But that was just me being old and not understanding things.
I love Halftime Show. I can't wait for you to meet them, bro. They're the best.
And I know
Stoked.
Hi, Bryce.
Future Bryce.
Hi, future Bryce.
But no, that's very cool. Because I feel like, you know, obviously everyone's been kind of doing the Discord kind of thing lately, and then I feel like there was another like kind of game. I don't know if it was like Fortnite or Minecraft, but I feel like someone else also did like a show in one of those recently, more of like a DIY. I think there was some bigger artist that did Fortnite, but that's a different story. But it's cool that like there's these opportunities.
Yeah. We definitely having halftime shows on cool or halftime show on this show is cool because we definitely have zero plans to ever tour with halftime show or play shows with them ever.
Well, you heard it here. Not happening.
Never happening.
But definitely something cool that I don't feel like a lot of bands are doing. If they are, then I just haven't noticed. But that's definitely cool to be playing Roblox. Before we start to transition and get into this whole thing, I did notice one thing when I was scrolling through the Twitter sphere. I still call it Twitter.
It is Twitter. Sorry.
Leading up to this episode is there was a really good tweet of if someone needs to learn how to yell for a song, you just gotta pass a kidney stone during recording.
Dude,
which is the craziest fucking thing to tweet.
Okay, not to get like too deep into my own like medical history.
Oh my god.
Like, I can't lie. For like a week, I'm gonna be honest. For like a week, it like hurt to pee, and I went to the doctor. And I was like, dude, what is wrong? And they were like, it might be a kidney stone. And then we went to the studio like the next day to like record Gorp, and I was having like troubles and like problems, and I was in pain, and I was like, dude, my scream sounds so much better, and like all of my like, emotion is there. And I was like, dude, you need to like, I think every band, their singer needs to like get a kidney stone somehow, because it just like, it just adds like, and you can, I say that here first, folks, but no, it like, but like, I would like I think with our demeanor, we kind of just like we take our music seriously, and we take who we are seriously. Like we're all very like, we are what we represent, but we're all really funny guys. So, it's like whatever dumb shit kind of comes to mind, we kind of just say, it's like, if you need to learn how to scream, pass a kidney stone. It's like the kind of dumb shit that we say.
So does this mean you're going to try and get kidney stones for every future recording?
No. I haven't drank water in 2 months. Like,
Oh my god. That's album preparation right there.
Yeah. Man, well, more power to you. I don't know if I could go put myself through that, but I can't wait to hear what the screams sound like on the album.
dude, they're gonna be crazy.
So as we start to transition here, is there anything that I might have missed between the EP, Gorb, the new split, or Dear Cincinnati in general that you want the people to know about?
Not for
I think
me.
you nailed it.
I think
Yeah.
I think you
You did
nailed
a
it.
lot of research,
pretty
brother.
cool.
I try. Well, everyone go listen to And I Can't Let Go and Gorb and the Trolley Problem when obviously everything will be out by the time this episode comes out. So add to the streams if you haven't already. But we're gonna start to transition here. This is obviously Beers with Bands. You don't have to be drinking on these episodes because I'll definitely do that for you. But I know you guys have some fine beverages in front of you on this fine Monday night. What are y'all drinking tonight?
Right.
Is Dear Cincinnati a Natty Light band?
It's
Yeah.
Get sponsored.
It's cheap,
It's cheap.
and we're poor.
We're
This is my Natty Light. This is my Natty Light. I don't drink beer, so I drink copious amounts of Red Bull. So I destroy my body just equally the same.
the hard worker.
Well, I commend you on the Natty Lights. I can't remember the last time I had one. I'm also a cheap beer kind of guy. Granted, I have Modelo's in front of me tonight, but normally it's a Hams kind of household around here.
I'm a Heineken person, low key.
Never against it.
David, I've never seen you with a Heineken in your life.
Dude, that is factually not true.
I have never.
I'm gonna get.
Never one time.
You guys won't see this, but I'm gonna get Georgie to confirm it with Troy. I'm always getting Heineken. I love Heineken.
We'll find out. Post it online. People are gonna wonder now if you're really a Heineken kind of guy.
Yeah, shit, dude.
It's a great question, but he's not.
I am. Dude, what? Hold on. I'll do this later.
Well, that's the little drink segment for this episode. But now we're into kind of my favorite part of the episodes. Now that we're always nice and loose, we're kind of talking about some fun stories from you guys' time music, whether they were Dear Cincinnati, anything before. As I normally say, they could be anything horrendous to tremendous, or any adjective in between. The way I like to think about it is think about the stories you always reminisce about with your friends. I know there's already some looks going back and forth, and I can tell that there's probably something good in there. Those are usually the ones people want to hear. Statute of limitations are a thing. Don't incriminate yourselves.
Troy, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. 2 years. So me and out of everybody in the band, the two people who have probably been in the music scene in Tallahassee the longest are me and David. And with every fiber in my being for years, I hated that man. I hated that man terribly. But you know what? It's fine because now I love him.
Okay, but I feel like a little bit of we didn't hate each other because we knew each other. We hated each other because all of our friends hated.
We hated each other because our bands hated each other, and so we were like forced to be pinned against each other.
Like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
And now we're together, also like Romeo and Juliet. You know what's next?
Huh.
Both of us die.
Yup, dude. That's
We gotta
what's gonna happen after this.
we gotta keep it up. All right, Trevor, you go, bro.
All right, my favorite time with the band. It's all right. We had to do a 2-show and 1-night show, so it was all right. But we may or may not have consumed a few too many alcoholic drinks. So the transition from show 1 to show 2 is a little dramatic. Everybody had a good time, we'll say.
Except for Troy.
And by the time the show got on its way and the show was between all of us rather than just one of us, it was amazing. So while we grinded through the 2 shows, we ended up having one of the best shows that we've had together.
Except for when David jumped on that speaker and broke it.
That was
And when he broke my brace.
Incriminating. This is the incriminating part.
I broke a lot of stuff that night. I think one of our more funny moment, and this wasn't funny in the moment, but it's funny now that
It's
we're
funny now.
it's
Yeah.
funny now. Was so our second show we played the day before it was supposed to like torrentially snow.
You're hating on me now.
I am hating on you. But it was supposed to snow really bad. And so we played the show, and Trevor leaves his stuff, like his capo, on someone else's amp. But it was okay because the guy was like, "Oh yeah,
He licked me.
I'm gonna leave my amp during your set."
He
So
licked me.
so everyone was like, "Oh, cool, that's fine or whatever." And like midway through our first song, the dude takes his amp off stage, and his capo is like gone. And the transition between, at the time we used to put Voyage on the Terry Crews and then Piss Duke right after each other because we play in a bunch of weird tunings like emo boys do. It's what we do. I don't know. But so the capo is gone, and we sat there for like it felt like an hour, but it was like 7 minutes maybe, where we were all just like trying to figure out what to do, and we were like switching guitars back and forth between Hudson and Trevor.
This was on stage.
This was
in front of a bunch of people.
and like all the tunings were fucked up, and eventually we got it, and we got a capo, and like after the show we were all like, what the fuck happened to the capo? And then like the dude comes up to us and is like, oh yeah, I've got it right here. And I've never wanted to maul a guy like a tiger.
Dude.
I'm so jumped at him.
After that show, we sat the venue on the stage together, and we were like, "Bro, we're so washed." We were like, "Bro, everybody but Wickman. Wickman left immediately in a fury. He was furious. I didn't see a blink of him that whole night.
No, I was gone.
I think another thing that I really like about this band that could be seen as like embarrassing, but I think we all do, is it's funny you bring up that tweet, because our social media presence, to me at least, and I don't do a lot of it. My face is on a lot of it, but I don't do a lot. Why is Fox News on, dude? Turn Fox fucking News off, dude. What? But I think our social media presence can be seen as like embarrassing to some, but to us, it's fucking hilarious. Like you brought up the kidney stone thing, dude. The only thing I really control is the Twitter. And whenever I think of like the first dumb thing I can connect with the band, it's like, oh, that's what I'm gonna post. I was like, that's funny. Like I need to post that because I'm a Twitter warrior. I can't lie. I hate Elon Musk, but I'm a Twitter warrior. I can't lie.
Dude, I'm terrible at social media because I barely post even on my personal stuff. But when I get hammered and then I start tweeting on like the Beers of Bands like page, that's when I get all the likes. I can post about an episode and no one gives a fuck. But I post a stupid tweet and then it's like 50 likes, and I'm like, go listen to stuff that matters, but also thank you. Like it's still endearing, but like go listen to the episodes too.
Yeah. Wakeman, do you have anything?
I don't really post on any of the band's social medias at all.
What embarrassing stories do you have though? You broke the one day.
There's another band in Tally called Palace Rats that's quite good. And there was a miscommunication. I thought they were backlining, and I plugged in. I grabbed the wrong plug-in, and I blew out their guitarist's amp.
Like this bass into a guitar amp.
Yeah.
Just completely
That was
fucked it.
bad.
Yeah, that was on fire.
This is kind of full circle. I didn't realize this, but it was the same amp that got hauled off stage with the capo on it. So it was like,
Payback.
it's honestly like I just happened to be payback by fate. I didn't even realize that.
Wait, let me tag Beers with Bands.
Are you tweeting at Beers with Bands right now?
Yeah, I'm literally just tweeted, we on Bios with Bands with a Z. Whoa. Dude, yeah, no. I thought that was funny. Posted it. I have no social media presence on any of my personals. The band account, I can do whatever I want.
Hell yeah. Going back to how you said that, you broke a speaker too, that episode? Oh, that night. I remember one time we were coming back from tour, and I've mentioned this a couple different times, but like we were like 2 stops away from home. We're playing in Kansas, and the band that we were supposed to play with, as we're like on our way to the venue, like coming from like Colorado, driving through there or whatever, the band is like, oh, by the way, so and so didn't get off work for the show, so like we won't be able to make it. So like it was just supposed to be two of us playing that show in a bumfuck nowhere, Kansas, that we had never been, and the other band just basically drops, doesn't even come to support the show, which looking back, kind of sus, behavior. But what we would normally do is like, since I was TMing, I would always give the guys like a 2-drink limit before they played, because we were the rowdy band in our neck of the woods. So I would always be like, yo, 2 beers before you guys play, that's it. After you guys play, go for it, because they would get really sloppy. And as soon as we found out, like, that the other band wasn't coming, they all kind of looked at me and they're like, "Is the rule in place today?" I'm like, "No, let's fucking go for it." So like we were the only band that played, and I remember our lead guitarist was jumping around and then just fell into the monitor at one point, and I was like, "That's the point. Wrap it up. We gotta go. We're done here."
Yeah.
I could try my absolute hardest to put that rule on David,
Yeah.
but he would never listen.
Dude, Troy, did you also tweet, bro? Like, what?
I just tweeted your tweet.
I just listened to 15 Seconds of Silence while David typed this mid-interview.
These are the two craziest people I've ever met. So, just for clarity's sake.
Yeah.
Not me. It's not him. It's not him.
I get a little bit of beer in me, and that's wild.
I did have one guy that tried to like bend the rule, and he got a Long Island before a set. And it was also like the strongest Long Island that I've ever tasted. He made it a quarter of the way through the glass, like a pint glass. He sucked at bass anyway, so it wasn't really going to do anything for him. But
Man, like you.
That's not true. We swear.
Anyone have any other stories? Otherwise, I can lead us out.
I think one last story, just jumping off of being too drunk to play. Another band I'm in here is I play in a Scrams band called Hard to Get a Hold of. And like our second show, I got so drunk before it that the entire set, I didn't realize this, but I was playing my guitar and I put an extra pick woven through my strings for later. And I played the entire set with a pick woven through my strings and had no fucking clue that I just sounded like complete dog shit. Like there was pretty much no sound but buzzing coming out of my guitar. Yeah, that was a bad moment. Yeah, I think that's the last story.
Pretty good on Eddie.
Yeah, thankfully I never experienced any of that. Like I never played anything, so I was always just TMing.
No problem, bro.
Yeah, but I would just half the nights the nights that I didn't have to drive, I would just get hammered at the bar, while everyone else played. I still loaded in and loaded out, and then if we had a hometown show, then I'd get super hammered because I knew I was very close to home. The last time I stage dove, my friends this is how long it's been since they were in a band. They opened for Chunk No Captain Chunk in Iowa City, so I got to stage dive during All My Friends. And I was just hammered, and I'm pretty sure I kicked someone in the face while I was wearing boots. So that's on them, but they shouldn't have been standing there. But it was a great time.
Dude, no, one time at a show when I was 16, I was the lead singer of a band, and I had just gotten off of work, and I had steel-toed boots, and I had stage dove.
Shouldn't have done that.
Oh, I don't even want to finish the story, but don't stage dive in steel-toed boots. But I needed them for work, and I didn't want to change before we played the show.
I also got very humbled at a show. It was right after lockdown, and I think it was emo night at one of the venues here in Minneapolis. So we were like, "Fuck it, we've been inside for a year and a half. Let's go to something." So we went to emo night, and they started playing, I think Fat Lip by Sum 41. So I was like, fuck yeah. I want to go into the pit for this one. I handed my friend my beers and then went towards the pit, but someone had spilled beer in the pit. So as soon as I got in there and went to go this, I hit it slipped and just immediately fell on my ass, and I just like tried to get up as someone's like trying to help me up at the same time, and I just walked right back to my friends. I was like, I can't, no, there's no redemption there. Like, I'm done.
Tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyone listening, if you're gonna go mosh somewhere, make sure someone hasn't spilled an entire beer on the floor, because it's just not fun, especially when it's a bunch of kids, and MGK was on emo night playlist. It doesn't make sense, but that's for the Patreon episode, I think. There's no Patreon, but this has been a great time. It's a bunch of great stories, but I always like to leave off these episodes on a high note. Not to say that we aren't already there already. So my final question to the five of you is: from your time in Dear Cincinnati, what has been your favorite moment that you've experienced so far?
I would say the favorite moment I've ever seen was at our first ever show we played. It was probably like a week or 2 weeks after Piss Nuke came out. So it was our first ever show, and we played in Trevor's backyard to like 40 to 80 people. It was like a pretty good turnout for our first show, and playing Piss Nuke and hearing people know the words and sing it back to us at our first show, in a small town where we didn't really have a music scene here, and the fact that we could bring people out who not only like would want to have fun with us, but knew the words and actually appreciate our music. That was really when I was like, okay, we can, if we keep at this, we can do it.
Yeah, I think my favorite moment is probably one of our first practices. So Hudson, our lead guitarist, and I had been musicians together in the past, and our project before Dear Cincinnati, writing music was something we really struggled with. But when the whole band got together and we started writing, it was one of our first songwriting sessions, and everything clicked really well. I remember looking around and thinking, oh, wow, this sounds pretty good. That's a fond memory.
I think one of my favorite moments, it's kind of similar to Troy's, was we played this half country, half like alternative show, and we go into, it's either Piss Nuke or Terry Crews. It's one of the ones that we had out for a while, or the EP wasn't out of it. It was just one of the ones we had out, and I don't know. There was a shit ton of people there, and it was also in Trevor's backyard. But there must have been like 200 people there while we were playing, and everyone who was like really focused on the show, just really like they all knew the words, and it felt so. It's just a very like surreal feeling, especially it's like when you have to be very vulnerable with some of the things you write, to have people like screaming that back at you. So that's got to be probably my favorite moment.
In my opinion, we had practice on Thursday. It was maybe 4 days ago, and we just started playing some blues stuff. Everybody was engaged. Everybody had their own part to the song, and it was like just on a whim, and it felt like that was the embodiment of what we had together. So that was just recently, and it was just amazing. So
I think my favorite moment was same show David was talking about. It was like our third or fourth show, maybe. It was here at Trevor's house again, and we had a bunch of people, but the party got a little bit out of hand, and we didn't do a good job of keeping people out of the house. And at some point, we find out that Trevor's bedroom door is locked. And that's like, we got a bunch of shit in there. We're like, who the fuck, what are you going in Trevor's room for? And it turns out people were fucking in there. And they snuck out of the window, but we couldn't get the door unlocked. So for like 50 minutes to an hour, it was just like everyone in this house came together with the sole purpose of like getting that door open. Like we had everyone banging on it. Like, if you're fucking in there, get out. Eventually we got that door open. And then we found out they snuck out through the window, and Trevor looks, and they had put all of his like decorations that he had up back in the same spot on his windowsill. And he was
Dragon
like,
Ball Z stuff.
honestly, I'm not even that mad. Like, they put my shit back. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Dude, I don't think I've ever been more angry than I was. Dude, I'm beating on the fucking door.
Dude, I was scared, and I was on the right side of the door. Like, David was like, if he had gotten in that room, I would be seriously scared for those people.
Energy drinks, so I was like, I had it like by the windowsill, and they put it right back. I was like,
put everything
back.
That's definitely my favorite moment, though. Yeah.
It's a very classy move to put everything back as you're also going out the window.
Taking it with them. It was too cool for that.
Those are all great moments, and hopefully, when we get to possibly do this again in the future, when either EP2 or LP2 or who knows what you guys will have in the wheelhouse at that point comes out. We'll get to hear more great moments that you guys have experienced together. Like truly, what you guys are doing is super sick, and I'm really stoked for the future for you guys. If anyone's looking for merch, music, or Dear Cincinnati in general, where can they find it?
Link in our bio on Instagram. Our link tree with pretty much everything. We've got music anywhere, merch anywhere. That you can find that in our Instagram bio.
Hell yeah. So, everyone, I know you guys have, like we mentioned, CDs still available, and I think shirts I saw were posted to get those. I think you guys have a big cartel. Otherwise, go see them at a show locally, since I can't be there. You guys got to go live that for me and go pick up a shirt, pick up a CD. But Go Jam and I Can't Let Go. Go Jam the Trolley Problem when it finally drops, or it'll already be out. I will jam it when it drops. You guys have already jammed it multiple times. But one last big thank you to y'all for taking the time out of your Monday to sit down with me and talk about your band.
Of course, bro. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Everyone, go follow Dear Cincinnati, and I'll catch everyone on the next episode. See ya.
Yeah.
With